Breaking habits is very difficult. The easiest way is to control your environment so that you do not encounter the cue which triggers your habit. It is difficult to break any habit even when you are motivated to do so. If you are ambivalent about breaking it, then you will be less likely to be successful. Dine has been represented by the Pace Gallery and has had hundreds of solo exhibitions around the world, including major solo shows in museums in Europe and the United States. This has included the Whitney Museum of American Art and the Museum of Modern Art. His work can be found in numerous other public collections throughout the world. The benefits of home fencing are not only as a barrier between the area of the house and the surrounding environment. In simple words, a fence is an information formation or structure that is above the ground and is generally vertical, with the intention of limiting on an areas, protecting everything inside the fence from threatening danger from outside the fence. Thomas Edison used his access to the railroad to conduct chemical experiments in a small laboratory he set up in a train. During one of his experiments, a chemical fire started and the train caught fire. The conductor rushed in and struck Edison on the side of the head, probably furthering some of his hearing loss. Connective tissue cells provide structural strength to the body and also defend against foreign invader like bacteria. Two types of cells are native to connective tissue. Other cells migrate into connective tissue from the bloodstream to fight disease. Special type of connective tissue are designed to be stronger and more rigid than most connective tissues. Canada's first ever poverty reduction strategy is built on the vision that all Canadians should be able to live in dignity. It is also built on the belief that all Canadians deserve to be treated fairly and fully participate in the development of their communities. To be effective, the strategy must have transparent indicators, clear targets, and tangible actions. A patriarchal family is one run by the father or eldest male of a household. He usually decides the duties of the women and children in the family. In his role, the patriarch solves family dispute and divides the family's wealth. The patriarch is also the spiritual leader of the family because he is thought to be the closest to the spirits of the family's ancestors.
We want to improve the quality of life and the standard of living.
We want to improve the quality of life and standard of living.
Many patients are not getting the medical treatment that they need.
Many patients are not given the medical treatment that they need.
The new building will be located in the center of the town.
The new building will be located in the center of the town.
This is a new system for assessing personal tax bills.
This is a new system to assessing the personal tax bill.
The final two sessions will take place on Sunday morning.
The final two sessions will be placed in the Sunday morning.
When you have finished typing, remember to save your document.
When you are finished typing, remember to save your document.
The company is expected to triple their profits next year.
The company will expected to triple their profit next year.
The smoke from these contributed a great deal to the air pollution.
The smoke of bees contribute a great air pollution.
He is firmly convinced that it is important to finish his homework in time.
He is convinced to finish his homework in time.
The mismatch between the intended and reported uses of the instrument has become clear.
The mismatch of the requirement will be clear.
Almost every representative of a new idea has to struggle and suffer similar difficulties.
Almost every similar idea can have difficulties. This picture provides information about school enrollment rates in Brazil 2010 to 2023. Firstly, I can talk about 50, 60 and 70. After that, I can talk about 80, 90 and 100. Moreover, I can talk about 2010, 2012 and 2014. In addition, I can talk about 2016, 2018 and 2020. After analysis, I can compare the largest amount and the smallest amount. Furthermore, I can talk about primary, secondary and high school. In conclusion, this picture provides very significant and informative data. This picture provides information about number of rivers by country. Firstly, I can talk about India, USA and Brazil. After that, I can talk about China, Russia and Australia. In addition, I can talk about Egypt. Furthermore, I can talk about 50, 100, 500, 1000 and 1500. Moreover, I can talk about 2000, 2500 and 3000. After analysis, I can compare the largest amount and the smallest amount. In conclusion, this picture provides very significant and informative data. This picture provides information about happy people. Firstly, I can talk about that two people are shaking hand. In addition, I can talk about there is two women and one man. Moreover, I can talk about there is green grass. Furthermore, I can talk about they are smiling. After analysis, I can compare the largest amount and the smallest amount. In conclusion, this picture provides very significant and informative data.
A lot of people.
The lecture provides information about short day and winter night, and also about carbohydrate and cravings, and also about summer month and winter blues, and also about work from home and computer screen, and also about outdoor exposure and morning hour. After analysis, I can talk about that this is very significant and informative data.
What do we call the area where actors perform in a theater?
Stage.
What do we call a doctor who specializes in heart diseases?
Cardiologist.
What do we call a company that pays the cost of an event in order to advertise?
Advertising company or event
What do we call the
management.
animals kept in a farm? How do we describe a person who is unable to speak? What do we call the natural color of the skin on a person's face?
Postmodernism is, broadly speaking, a reaction against the movement or the period, or perhaps simply the values and beliefs of modernism. Most people, even those who seem to know what it is or was about, tend to define it in negative terms by telling us what it isn't or doesn't do. Initially, the term had a fairly limited application and referred to a new anti-modernist style of architecture. But it spread like a virus to include almost all aspects of contemporary culture. One thing we can be sure about is that it wanted to get rid of what were called the grand narratives by which we explained how the world and history got us from the past to the present. Another feature of postmodernism is its belief that truth and reality are human-centered and internal. That is, the primary source of truth in the present age is the self. This, I believe, has now all passed and been thrown in the rubbish bin of history. Yet it is difficult to know whether the age of information technology confirms the passing of postmodernism or is a consequence of it.
Companies spend billions on advertising every year, but they're not just pushing products. They're selling their brand's personality, too. Think Red Bull. What comes to mind? Most people say things like speed, power, hyper, extreme. Well, a pair of scientists wanted to see if the energy drink's alleged qualities would influence people's performance in a race car video game without sipping Red Bull. So they had 70 volunteers race cars with identical specs but different paint jobs. 4 with the logo and colors of a drink, Guinness, Tropicana, Coca-Cola, or Red Bull, and 1 car just plain green. The drivers clocked similar times with most of the cars, but behind the wheel of the Red Bull car, they actually drove more aggressively, scoring either incredibly fast race times or their slowest, by driving recklessly and crashing. The study appears in the Journal of Consumer Psychology. Polled after the game, the players didn't realize the Red Bull image apparently influenced their driving, which suggests marketing doesn't just influence a brand's personality, it could be shaping our personalities too, without our even knowing it.
The media played an important role in the last election. This lecture will be of special interest to history students.
We must decide how to utilize the resources we have.
Graduate studies in landscape architecture attract a broad range of people.